afternoon and welcome to iPulse Live for October 3rd, 2025. I'm Allison Wallace.
And I'm Swanson Gibson Jr. We begin today with the government shutdown. Where does it go next? And how does it impact you? CNN's Amy Kiley reports.
Congress's first role is to make sure the government operates.
We need to reopen the government.
Leaders of both parties say the government shutdown is bad for the country, but they don't agree on how to fix it. Democrats want a funding bill that reverses Medicaid cuts and extends expiring Obamacare subsidies.
Well, what we're doing is fighting to protect the health care of the American people.
Republicans want a fairly clean continuing resolution.
The counter proposal would add $1.5 trillion in new spending on a 7-week stopgap measure. We're not doing that.
Shuttering the government is starting to have an impact. The FBI Agents Association says, quote, a shutdown can undermine the FBI's ability to perform its duties at a time when the country faces an unprecedented range of national security and criminal threats. Meanwhile, the White House says it'll soon use the shutdown as a reason to lay off federal workers.
The DOJ cuts, it's now this shutdown. I almost wonder, why would anybody want to be a federal worker?
Sources say the White House also thinks a food program for women, infants, and children could run out of money by next week. A recent survey shows about a quarter of military families rely on WIC. Service members are among the federal workers no longer getting paid.
Our military families need a solution to this.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
From national parks to air travel delays, a federal government shutdown threatens to send ripple effects throughout daily life. But perhaps not just yet. Guillermo de Domenico explains.
The government shutdown is affecting public services throughout the nation. Hours after the shutdown began on Wednesday, I went around Palm Beach County to see which of these services had been impacted. At the Arthur R. Marshall Loxahatchee National Wildlife Refuge, services are closed as federal employees are forced to take an unpaid leave of absence. At the Social Security Administration in Boca Raton, it's business as usual, despite some Floridians' worry.
I don't know what am I going to do. I have to get a passport. I'm bringing some documents to Social Security office. I don't know what am I going to do.
At the Palm Beach International Airport, operations also ran normally, but general fear is still present.
Shutdowns aren't easy because workers aren't going to work, and when you don't work, you don't produce.
In the last government shutdown in 2018, some air traffic controllers called in sick as a form of protest, causing delays in travels.
The fact remains that if you don't have enough people, to man the airports, definitely we'll have a whole lot of problems in traveling.
Frustration with the government is a common sentiment.
I think that every time the government shuts down, it's a indication of disorganization, lack of priority setting, and honestly answering to the American people.
We reached out to local members of Congress for a reaction. We have not heard back from Republican Brian Mast's office. I did talk this morning with Democrat Lois Frankel. I asked her about GOP criticism that Democrats are holding out for promises on renewed subsidies for health care. Republicans say that could have been handled after approving a short-term spending bill to avoid the shutdown.
If we do not continue the affordable care subsidies, people are going to see their health premiums, in some cases double, some triple. You'll see families of four right here in Florida go from paying up to $1,200 extra a month. Millions of people lose their health care. It doesn't not just affect them. The providers don't get paid. The hospitals don't get paid. The emergency rooms pile up. And then the cost for everybody else goes up. This is a crisis in the making that can be avoided if the Republicans are just willing to sit down, negotiate, and get this done.
A focus on the Sunshine State's housing market. For years, one of the hottest investments around. But today, concerns are growing about a downturn, and worries grow about whether Floridians who find the market beyond their reach will start looking to get out permanently. Alexis Nowak has our story.
On affordable homes, sky-high insurance, the headlines suggest many Floridians are getting out. the picture is likely far more complicated.
These individuals aren't necessarily leaving the state. It's more likely that they're moving into local suburban markets that are more affordable, that are not as trafficked, and may have better school systems for their children. And they're on the periphery of these metro areas, so they're still enjoying the metro area amenities.
Bryce Shavek is with Hunter Housing Economics. He studies real estate trends in Florida.
The recent Fed rate cut certainly signals positive outlook for home builders and developers. It makes borrowing a little bit cheaper and allows them to push margins a bit.
But studies suggest rising living costs are driving more Floridians to rent.
We have investors buying things now as they become more priced properly for them to invest and buy. We're still seeing a lot of activity in the leasing or rental market. So, people don't realize you still need to buy insurance when you're renting.
Bryce Shavek sees the same trend.
Absolutely. For sale communities are still being built and homes are still being bought. But there has been a significant increase in rental communities, specifically BTR, built for rent. These built for rent communities have sort of band-aided the housing shortages across markets.
Trends worth watching for their impact on a housing market in flux in the Sunshine State. I'm Alexis Nowak reporting with iPulse News.
Now to the open carry of firearms in Florida. A court ruling said the previous ban on open carry is unconstitutional. Now, the Republican-led legislature will have to turn that ruling into a new set of guidelines. The court ruling does not end prohibition on firearms in places like schools and courthouses, but it is raising many questions and a lot of debate. iPulse has reaction from local lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle.
What happens if a business puts a sign up, which I think they can, saying we don't want open carry in our property? Will that business, if somebody doesn't obey that, doesn't comply with the law, will they be subject to trespass, which is a criminal felony? So I think it makes our state a lot less safe. I am a strong supporter in the Constitution as an attorney, but I don't think that the Second Amendment was drafted with the idea that people were going to be walking around with AR-47s. We understand that that there needs to be limits, just like there's limits on the First Amendment. And when you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, there should be limits on what people can do under their Second Amendment rights. I will tell you, for the first time in my 16 years at the Florida Capitol, I have seen pictures now of our sergeant at arms walking around with long rifles. They never did before. This is a new thing. This just happened since the open carry law went into effect, because right now, the way the law is written, you can bring a gun into the Capitol. You cannot bring it into chambers. You cannot bring it into committee meetings, but you can bring it into the Capitol. So we could start seeing people come into my office. That's part of the Capitol. It's not a chamber. It's not a committee meeting with a rifle or a long gun or something like that. So it's disturbing.
The Attorney General has stated that he will not be enforcing the laws that prohibit open carry. But that being said, here in the legislature, we have some work to do. And in order to catch up to the Supreme Court ruling, of course, states are allowed to be more extreme and more strict than the federal government. However, in this case, I think that now there's an appetite to, in fact, enact this legislation. I wouldn't be surprised to see that legislation filed here coming up and a repealer to allow for open carry legally. I'm a firm believer in our Second Amendment rights. And yes, I absolutely believe in open carry. I have lots of friends in Texas, as a matter of fact, and they've had it out there for many years. And as a result, they've seen crime go down in various places. All that being said, I'm also a responsible gun owner and have gone through training and gone through different things like that, as has my wife and my kids. So I think Florida has a long history of respecting private businesses and respecting personal property rights. And so if that private business chooses to do their business practices in one way or another, as long as it is not, if you will, really impacting individuals themselves, then they can do what they want. And I think that would include a prohibition of firearms walking into that business.
Alligator Alcatraz dominated the headlines this summer. Now there is a legal tug-of-war over the future of the detention center in the Everglades and other proposed facilities in Florida. Carly Hochberg sat down with an immigration lawyer for perspective.
The immigration crisis continues to capture national attention, and right now all eyes are on Florida. This state finds itself at the center of a legal battle involving Alligator Alcatraz and the newly labeled deportation depot in North Florida.
Alligator Alcatraz is, in fact, like we've always said, open for business. The mission continues, and we're going to continue leading the way when it comes to immigration enforcement.
Governor Ron DeSantis is vigorously advocating for President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. As tensions rise and debates ensue, Florida's actions will undoubtedly influence the broader conversation on immigration policy across the nation.
As practitioners, it's been a horrifically challenging time.
I recently spoke with Richard Huber, a longtime immigration attorney in South Florida.
And the claim of, targeting criminals and those that are a danger to the society and stuff. I mean, unfortunately, that's not really what I'm seeing sometimes. I'm seeing, and they're admitting this, that while they go look for those as priority along the way, they're obviously detaining other people as well. And those are mostly my clients, people that have been here for many years, that have kids, American kids, not necessarily any criminal record. And they're being kind of caught up in this sweep.
Huber says border enforcement often swings from one extreme to the other. Under the Biden administration, critics argued that lax policies created chaos and allowed unchecked border crossings.
I tell my clients this a lot where, everyone wants to blame this administration, but frankly, I think the prior administration went a bit too far in how they were handling things when it comes to immigration.
CNN reported that in the first 7 months of President Trump's administration, ICE deported nearly 200,000 immigrants. The agency is now on pace to reach the highest removal rate in more than a decade, with all signs pointing to an even tougher crackdown.
Everyone, when they find out this is what I do for a living, kind of feels sad for me or sympathizes with me because it is such a challenging time. But, when you do this as long as I have, you adjust, you kind of adjust on the fly, you have no choice. And some of it's necessary and some of it's been necessary for a while, but it's just there's no middle ground. We keep going from one extreme to another when an administration takes place.
For many, there is no choice. In Florida, the fight over deportation remains front and center. Carly Hochberg for iPulse.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's a time of shedding light on those who have fought breast cancer or still are. Mary De Niro has battled breast cancer twice now. She devotes herself to PopCore, a group supporting the Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center at the University of Miami. Erna DeLise has her inspiring story.
Not once, but twice. Mary De Niro emerged victorious after surviving breast cancer.
I was shocked. It was found by accident by Dr. Perez at Sylvester Cancer Center.
Her first diagnosis was at the age of 30, but then her doctors found another lump.
She sent me for a scan, and I was thinking, I don't have anything to worry about. I was at my 10-year survival moment, and when I got the phone call that they found something a little off, I was just like, oh, can't be anything. But I was really devastated when I got the diagnosis when the biopsy came back positive.
Being so young, De Niro faced challenges in her journey.
When you're 30 years old and your friends are getting married and having babies, and you're dealing with the changes of your body, and then chemotherapy, from feeling sick and tired all the time to, just losing your hair and who you were, we always talk about, there's your new normal now.
De Niro says she could not have gone through it alone.
Use your support network, find a mentorship program, focus on the good days and rest on the bad days.
In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, she advocates that women get checked regularly.
Cancer happens every day of the year. It doesn't matter if it's October or July. It's possible for you to be diagnosed with cancer. Pay attention to your body, and don't just use October's reminders to to check yourself or, to get yourself checked out. Try to stay positive through it no matter what.
Go, you ring that bell. This is footage Mary gave me of the day she found out she had beaten cancer for the second time. A joyful celebration for a survivor, always sharing her powerful story. I'm Erna DeLise for iPulse News.
In December, a rare black bear hunt will take place in Florida, one of the first in over 10 years. Surprisingly, there are over 4,000 black bears in the wild, and the number is growing. One of the few in captivity is Joshua the black bear. Lasekian met up with him at the Flamingo Gardens in Davie, where he lives.
Josh, hey, what you doing? There he is. Hey, big boy.
A big old boy are the words Michael Regari uses to describe Joshua. He's a 28-year-old, strong American black bear with the heart of gold.
He doesn't want to try to hurt you. He's not aggressive.
Joshua is the exception. In Florida, hunters will now be allowed to shoot these bears as the state believes they are overpopulated. This bear will remain safe from the hunt. Regari has been taking care of Joshua for 14 years at Flamingo Gardens. He's helped the black bear through some devastating times.
He was actually bought from a breeder in Oklahoma. The people every year would take a baby panther, a baby tiger, and a baby bear down to the Homestead Fair. They let you hold it, they take your picture and charge you $20.
Joshua was locked up in a 20-foot by 20-foot high cage. He was over 600 pounds and in poor health.
He just never had the exercise, didn't even have a pond to climb into or anything, just sat on a dirt floor.
That's when Barry Peterson, a generous donor, funded the bear exhibit at Flamingo Gardens. Joshua had found a new home and a team to feed him a healthy diet.
We're giving him a lot of lettuce and kale, and he gets protein meat. We don't lock him up in the night house. He has free reign. He can come and go.
So what's next for the big old boy?
Right now, he is suffering some arthritic problems. He is on arthritic medicine. He's also very therapeutic to all of us, too. You know what I mean? I mean, we all, love that bear.
Even though Joshua had a tough life at the beginning, he was able to persevere and find a new home at Flamingo Gardens where he is loved. I'm Lasekian, reporting for iPulse News.
Her name is synonymous with conservation and the lifelong study of chimpanzees in the wild.
Jane Goodall died this week at 91 of natural causes. Across the globe, her legacy is being honored. Lillian Carrion has her story.
Jane Goodall's love of animals began at an early age.
I was told that I was watching earthworms before I could talk.
As a child growing up in a World War II London, she escaped into books about Dr. Dolittle and Tarzan.
My dream when I was 11 years old, I will grow up, go to Africa, live with animals and write books about them. And of course everybody laughed at me. We didn't have any money, and finally I was the wrong sex. Girls didn't do that sort of thing.
But that didn't matter to legendary paleontologist Louis Leakey. After hiring Goodall as his assistant, he sent her to what is now Tanzania in 1960 to study chimpanzees in the wild. With no formal scientific education, Goodall conducted her research unlike anyone else, giving the chimps names, observing human-like behavior, even gaining acceptance into chimp society. Her unconventional methods led to several landmark discoveries, among them that chimps used tools and ate meat, just like us. Her findings forced scientists to redefine humankind and reconsider what really separated us from our closest cousins.
They are not just objects, not just things, that they have personalities, minds, and feelings.
Goodall would earn a PhD from Cambridge University and be named a Dame of the British Empire. And throughout her institute, she became a tireless advocate for animal rights and the environment. One of Goodall's proudest accomplishments, creating a youth program called Roots and Shoots.
To bring up generations of children around the world to be better stewards of the planet and to be more loving of each other.
Even in her later years, Goodall spent 300 days a year on the road preaching her message. But no matter where she went, nature was never far from her mind.
Wherever I am, I can close my eyes and imagine myself in the forest, living with the most fascinating beings, out in the forests I dreamed of, doing some writing, which I love, a little bit of teaching, which I enjoy. I mean, what better life could anybody have?
I'm Lilian Carrion, reporting for iPulse News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Noah Barkley, and we do have a disturbance that's actually coming over Florida right now. It doesn't look like it's going to develop because as it comes over Florida, it's kind of going to negate its development because of the land that it's over. It doesn't have any hot water for it to actually suck into the storm, so that's not going to really give it much of a chance of development. In fact, it's actually under 10%. So just expect a lot of rain from that, a little bit more than usual, just because it is a tropical system. But out here is where we do have a storm that has a higher chance of development out here in the Atlantic. It's a tropical wave still, so it actually doesn't have any formation. It's still getting together. It's not even a tropical depression yet, so we'll have to see where it's going to go from here, but it looks like it's going to come up here, and as you'll see on the next slide, it looks like it's actually going to zip and go up toward Bermuda. So it doesn't look like it's going to be much of an issue in Florida other than choppy waves, but it is going to contribute to the very, very wet week that we are going to have. But once again, it does form, and it does, according to the GFS model, it does form as of right now. We'll have to see where that goes in the next few days, but right now it does have it forming, but it does look like because of a steering pattern right here, we do have a high pressure that's going to kind of come in a little bit from Georgia, maybe a little bit more north of that, and it's going to come in and it's going to cause this to go over this way because those don't go together and hurricanes bounce off. Actually, weather in general bounces off of high pressures, so it stops it from even going in that area. So don't expect to come here because of that steering pattern. It is formidable for it to actually form because there is a lack of wind shear. So it probably will form, especially going along with what the National Weather Service has to say in the National Hurricane Center. But I wouldn't expect it to come up here, again, because of that steering that is happening because of that high pressure. As we'll see on the next slide right now, we do have some showers that could be coming to the area. It doesn't look like it's raining right now, but as we get toward more 4 or 5 o'clock, we do have these storms over here by Key West. They're going to start to rise up. We do, have these storms over here. These are going to come in. And as it gets closer to the shoreline, they are going to get a little bit weaker because, again, it loses that warm water. But it does look like it is going to happen. It is going to rain, especially during the commute, about 4 through 6 maybe, that it's going to actually start raining. So be careful when you're actually driving home from work because it is going to be a little dangerous, especially for the rest of the week. As you'll see on the 7-day forecast right now, it is going to be quite the rainy week. As a matter of fact, you should expect a lot of flood warnings and a lot of flood watches as well that are actually going to occur really throughout Florida. Down here, it looks like it's going to be a little bit more significant. We did have a flood watch a little bit south of Boca yesterday, actually, and 2 days ago. So it was quite the week, and that's going to continue, especially with the saturation that's coming in from that storm that doesn't look like it's going to actually form into a tropical system because it's over a landmass and not over any water. So it's not favorable, but it is going to dump all that rain that was going to form. So you should keep an eye out for that. Again, rest of the week it is going to be very rainy, so check your flights if you plan on flying, because you might have some delays especially. Farmer's Almanac came out, and who doesn't want any snow? It doesn't look like in Florida we might not get any snow because that's just kind of how it goes around here. But as we get over more to the northeast and more north, that is especially where we do get snow. I spoke to James Weiland about this possibility. Take a look.
But they do a good job of it. It's mainly for the end user, the same people that are using our forecast are going to use the Farmer's Almanac too to see if it's right. And I did glance at it just now, and it did say a snowier. They have the snowier part, kind of similar to what NOAA's forecast is, which is like the Midwest. But they do have colder in the Northeast, and NOAA has warmer in the Northeast, so there's a little confliction there.
Do you think using the Farmer's Almanac as well as NOAA's forecasts is warranted and important to use to plan ahead?
Well, I like data. I like using everything. I like looking at everything. I don't think like excluding something here or there is good. I would rather look at it all and then use that information to go forward into whatever my plans may be. So I think any additional information like the Farmer's Almanac, NOAA, or any other private entity out there.
I'm Davin Jabrelbis in the newsroom. Our Lynn sports teams are off to a phenomenal start this fall. Our men's soccer team is currently ranked #1 in the country. I got to see them in action this week.
Stay on him, boys, stay on him.
Wednesday night, the Fighting Knights prevailed once again, this time over conference competitor Embry-Riddle. The Knights scored a perfect 7-0 record for now.
Yeah, it was a good fight from us, and yeah, now we're looking forward to Saturday.
Midfielder Fabian Vinelik talks about meeting a fresh challenge every game. This past weekend, the Knights defeated Nova Southeastern in a tough top 15 matchup.
We started off very well, then we were struggling a little bit. First half was kind of sloppy and casual, but then I think the second half was the best 45 minutes so far in our whole season. So yeah, 2-1 down in halftime, got back 1-4-2. Amazing performance, so yeah, we're still happy about it, but it's game by game. So
the Knights roster is full of newcomers that are making an early impact.
honestly, it's amazing. I feel like everyone is amazing with everyone. So yeah, we did a lot of team bonding at the beginning for good team chemistry. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, especially last year. That helped us a lot.
Coming up, the Knights have a stretch of in-conference matchups with a tough game against Tampa Saturday.
We just got to get through Saturday now. Very big game against Tampa. But yeah, we're excited, looking forward to that. And yeah, hopefully get a good result, a win, and then we got Wednesday off.
As a track athlete here at Lynn myself, it is so awesome to see my fellow athletes doing so well. Swanson, I know you feel the same. Back to you.
Dabin, thank you for that great insight. We appreciate both your journalistic and athletic talent. Still on the pitch, Dominic Ngatier has solidified himself as one of the most skilled players in NCAA Division II soccer. His efforts last year led him to win Most Outstanding Player in the NCAA Championships, leading the Lynn University Fighting Knights atop the soccer throne. Ngatier picked up a new individual honor recently. I caught up with him at a game this week to get perspective on this recent achievement. Since coming to South Florida, Dominic Ngatier has found much success as a key player on the Lynn University men's soccer team. Ngatier was recently recognized with a Sunshine State Conference Offensive Player of the Week award for his productivity as a forward. The German native played several seasons of professional club soccer in Munich, dueling some of Europe's best talent. One evening, Ngatier spoke about what led him to Boca Raton.
Focusing on the academics now, so I want to get my degree, and yeah, that's the reason I came here, and it's a great location. And we have a great team, we're successful as a team, so everything is coming together here.
When questioned about his recent Player of the Week honor, Ngatier emphasized that team success is more important than any individual award he could ever receive.
Actually, it don't mean that much to me, because it's more about the team effort and team success, but it's still nice. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is that we win as a team and are successful as a team.
The soccer star also discussed how his professional experience in Germany led him to have an easy transition into NCAA soccer.
It was more professional, I would say, than here, but the intensity is higher, I would say, because you can sub in and sub out. So it's really interesting, and it's fun as well, because you can get out for 10 minutes and get back in with like 100% again. So it's a different kind of soccer game, I would say, but yeah, I think the level is a bit lower than I played in Germany, but it's still really fun, and especially if I start scoring, yeah, it makes a lot of fun.
The 6-foot junior has notched 6 goals and 2 assists in 6 games this season, helping the Lynn Fighting Knights cruise to a 7-0 start.
We had a really good season last year, and we keep up the same level right now, and I hope we can go undefeated again, but it's still far away, so we look game to game, and right now we're on a good streak.
Ngatier and company are laser-focused as they continue their quest for a championship repeat. Reporting for iPulse News, I'm Swanson Gibson Jr.
A blast from the past. In an age where everything is about digital media, we check in today on a Delray shop keeping the old school sound of vinyl alive. Ellie Nickel has the groovy story.
Streaming may rule music today, but in Delray, Jake Record Store is keeping vinyl alive. I talked with owner Jake Fromm about why he opened the shop and why younger generations are rediscovering records.
I owned a record store in Arizona for about 4 years. So I moved out here because I have family here who have had health issues. So I had to close my store in Arizona and I moved out here.
And Jake says his store is proving that's why old really can be new again.
I've noticed an increase in younger people buying records and also younger people buying CDs and cassettes. I think the reason is that everything is invisible. It's on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music, and basically there's nothing tactile.
Unlike streaming, vinyl lets you hear the full album, discover hidden tracks, and connect with music in a way Jake believes digital just can't match.
Vinyls, you can hear the quality better, and I feel like it takes you back to the time it was recorded. You can feel really in the now, where streaming is kind of just like, oh, let's put this on, let's put that on. And with vinyl, you can pick your favorite music, and it's not just random songs playing, and you get to know the whole album instead of just random popular songs from an artist.
Record stores aren't just about buying music. They are also hubs for discovery.
When you come into a record store, I like to look through almost all of the records so you can see new artists that you've never heard of, or if you know one song, you can go to be like, oh, I know I like this artist. Let me go through the whole genre of music.
I even picked up a record myself while exploring the shop. From 80s, 60s to classic rock, Jake Record Store has it all. I'm Ellie Nickel reporting for iPulse News.
Speaking of our digital world, much of it revolves around our smartphones. Too many say elementary and high schools are clamping down on their use in class. Enzo Baboni checks in on that never-ending debate.
With American teens spending an average of 8 hours a day on their phones, state lawmakers and school districts are drawing the line. A wave of new phone bans is sweeping across schools, aiming to pull students' attention back to the classroom and away from their screens. In Florida, cell phones have been banned in a number of elementary, middle, and high schools during instructional periods, but there have been no cell phone bans in colleges. We spoke to 2 Lynn students about the Florida ban. Lauren Magnus, a junior at Lynn, says a lot of students want cell phones if they need to reach their parents urgently.
In incidents of an active shooter or a lockdown or a reason something bad happens, they have no way of contacting their parents, and their parents have no way of contacting their kids, and they might not hear anything through the school. They might only get it through the news.
Dr. Chad Barr, a professor at Lynn's College of Business and Management, would like cell phone bans to be extended to college.
Studies show that when your cell phone is on the desk or in between you and another individual, a lot of times that communication is broken up. On average, it'll take about 20 minutes to get back to the task that you were doing once you receive a notification. And if you check that notification, it's even longer. So students who have these cell phones in school settings are often distracted and not paying as much attention, which affects learning and retention. So yes, I think a ban of cell phones in schools is probably the future.
For now, schools are adjusting to a new reality, one where phones take a backseat to textbooks, discussions, and hands-on learning. Only time will tell if these bans truly make classrooms more connected, not to screens, but to each other. I'm Enzo Baboni for iPulse News.
There have been numerous Spider-Man films released within the past few decades, with prominent actors portraying the role of the iconic Peter Parker. Who's your favorite Spider-Man?
That's a tricky one. Probably Tom Holland. What about yourself?
I'm more of a Tobey Maguire guy. He's the OG.
On that topic, with great power comes great responsibility. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy is releasing in theaters. The Couch Potatoes reviewed the iconic movies.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Couch Potatoes. And my name is Guilherme.
And my name is Lisette.
And today we're going to talk about the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. It re-released last weekend in theaters and also this weekend as well, so you can go and enjoy that. It basically kickstarted the whole superhero genre back in the 2000s. Spider-Man has been rebooted like 4 times at this point, even in animation. And we watched the first one together.
Yeah, it was really fun seeing it in theaters on the big screen because I was born in 2005, but the original one came out 2002. And for me, it was just like so nostalgic because me and my mom, like we love Spider-Man. Like when I was a kid, like I was dressed as Spider-Man for Halloween. I mean, I know he's a guy, but you know, it was still fun. I had Spider-Man shoes. Me and my mom, we watch, like the Green Goblin and stuff, because she used to watch it in the 1960s back in New York, and it was just, it's such a well-made movie, and it's just Spider-Man is such he's just such a relatable character.
Yes. I think that for me, it's not really a surprise, but what I found the most interesting in this rewatch is that I love these movies because they're character dramas in their essence. There's the fights, they're great, by the way. They're so excellently choreographed. But what's great is that Peter goes through everything. He goes through grief, he goes through romantic frustration, he goes through burnout in the second movie. This is a character that, at its core, is meant to represent you, us, anybody. And when you said that you used to dress up as him, Spider-Man isn't just for boys. It's for everyone. It's a character for everyone to enjoy. And these original movies, I think especially, they just captured that really well.
Yeah, for sure. Before we end this podcast, man, where is your Spider-Man spirit? Why don't you have some type of hat on?
No, I mean, the shirt's here, and, a lot of people say that I look like Peter Parker.
that is true. I mean, journalist, photographer, right? Glasses.
I think the first movie really put me in a life path that I could never escape from. I saw the movie, okay, photographer, okay, journalism, okay, glasses. Yeah.
Anyways, we hope you go see it in theaters this weekend. Go bring the family. And until next time,
bye.
We are about to roll into the holiday season. Nowhere is that season of giving bigger than at Jack the Bike Man. He was an iconic figure in Palm Beach County, and his work goes on at a workshop Santa would be proud of. I got to take a look. Jack the Bike Man is gearing up its Wheels of Hope program. They give away thousands of bikes to children of all ages at Christmas time. Bike tech Ben Martin has been here for almost 16 years.
Foundation was started 25 years ago, and Jack, who is Jack the Bike Man, originally had a small child come up onto a stoop of his house, and Jack realized that child had a flat tire, so he went out, got a tube, installed it, and sent the child on its way. Well, a lot of other children started showing up in the neighborhood, going, okay, Mr. Jack, my bike needs repair too. So then Jack took it upon himself to initially start. He did a lot of flat repairs for the kids, and then people started dropping off bikes to him. So he was like, okay, I got the idea now. I'm going to store these bikes, repair them, and then by Christmas, I can donate these bikes to the kids who do need them.
Jack passed away in 2023, but the work goes on in his spirit.
Our mission is just to keep building until we have enough. You can't really put a number on what you want to produce, because the influx of bikes are getting harder for us. So we have to turn around and build whatever we can. We're like Santa's little helpers in here. We're just non-stop building.
You can help by donating a bike, making a donation, or volunteering. You can find their contact information directly on their website at jackthebikeman.org to learn more.
In other news, we turn to music. K-pop, or Korean pop music, has taken over the U.S. The popular music genre originated in South Korea and focuses on tight choreography from group members. At Lynn University, students let loose, having fun dancing to K-pop. Adam Akimi reports.
K-pop is a form of popular music originating in South Korea. The music genre has climbed in popularity over the last few years, becoming a huge internet sensation. BTS is one of the first groups to gain a huge following. The band was formed back in 2013, and as of last week, their hit song Dynamite has had 2 billion views on YouTube. The popular band Blackpink has had 1.9 billion views for their song How You Like That. Bands like Twice have become so popular and they have impacted all ages. From teenagers to college students, not only has it become a phenomenon with Asia, but also here as well. At Lynn University, around 100 members have signed up at the K-pop club. They also have a K-pop dance club with 18 regular members a part of it. Heidi Schultz is the president of the K-pop club at Lynn University.
I really like the music, which I didn't think at first that I would, because I'm more of like a rock, heavy metal sort of person. I don't usually like pop music, but I found that K-pop really has like a lot of variety with how the music sounds, and I've found the groups that have the sort of vibe that I like to listen to, and that's sort of what's like attracted me with it.
One of the groups this club loves is Stray Kids. A member who has been here since the club's inception is Victoria Pitter. She told me about her journey.
Well, it started in 2015 when one of my friends, she was obsessed with BTS, and she's like, okay, Victoria, you're gonna be in Namjoon because we're gonna perform it at XYZ time. I was like, okay. And then after that, I started listening to them more and more, and then it was just like straight K-pop.
Recently, a film based around Korean pop called K-pop Demon Hunters was released on Netflix. It has become the #1 most viewed film on the site with 266 million viewers and counting. And the hit song Golden reached 597 million streams and counting on Spotify as of this week. K-pop is said to appeal to teenagers because of flashy outfits and catchy dances, but the stereotype is not true. Again, Heidi Schultz.
For the future of K-pop, I do really hope that it does get more widespread and that the stigma with the fan base sort of starts going away. Because, of course, there's the stereotype of a rabid fan base, but that's usually just what it is, a stereotype, because not everyone is like that. And I do hope that all those sort of labels go away in the future, because we really shouldn't be applying labels like that to things when it's simply not true.
This is Adam Hakimi reporting for iPulse News.
An important note here, K-pop is banned in North Korea. The communist leadership there has long tried to eliminate pop culture influences in a regime that exercises iron-fisted control over information and culture.
Now we turn to a story about the other life of one of our reporters. iPulse's Lillian Carrion has had a long career in ballet since she was young in Mexico. Hunter Rossi has a story.
She was just 3 years old when she fell in love with ballet. And now, years later, Lillian Carrion is putting her ballet shoes back on, here in Boca Raton.
I think ballet is very, like I said, artistic, therapeutic. I think people should get into it because it just takes a part of you that probably you don't know. You don't have to be an expert. I think it's more like the body having its own language and speaking through music.
That language has been a part of Lillian's life since her childhood in Mexico. And it wasn't just a hobby. Lillian quickly became a standout performer.
I used to be the first ballerina of the National Ballet in the city where I live, which is Puebla. So I used to do contemporary dancing and classical dancing, which is ballet. I had a career from there until I was 16. I remember being in the dance studio every single afternoon. And then I left the country because I went to study in Canada for like 3 years.
But moving to Canada for academics meant leaving ballet behind. It's an adjustment that still resonates.
It's something I always regretted so much. I was like, why did I left this? And I always wanted to take it on again and do it again because I love it so much.
Years later, her dream of returning to ballet is finally coming true, now as a student at Boca Ballet.
My dream was always to dance for an American company. Even from the way the professors are, it's completely different. There's even more technique here.
A lot less weight that way, because it becomes very heavy once this is out, so we want to get it to our high point.
Professors are even more ahead in terms of who they wear behind in the past, professional dancers, or they went to Europe, or they danced for the best ballets in the world.
For Lillian, her return to dance is more than just a hobby. It's a reunion with a part of herself she never wanted to lose.
Everything artistic, that's a side of me that has always been there, and it will never get shut down. So now that I had the opportunity to go back to it, I was like, I should do it,
With each move, Lillian proves that a dream once paused can always return to center stage. I'm Hunter Rossi for iPulse News.
Thank you so much for tuning in to our live broadcast.
We look forward to seeing you next Friday at 2:30 p.m. Be sure to visit our website, iPulsenews.com, for all of our stories. Have a great weekend.